Hi everybody, I'm David Ambrose from St. George's, Grenada. I'd like to talk to you today about my 3 books. I'm going to focus on one book, but I'm going to mention all of them. My 3rd publication is Zone 1, which is a short story. My 2nd publication, That Time in Bogles, a Carriacou Tale. And my 1st publication is a full-length novel, White Spice, a crime thriller set in Grenada. In my novella, That Time in Bogles, a Carriacou Tale, you get to travel with Daniel, who leaves the mainland Grenada and travels by boat. It's an all-day trip to Carriacou to spend the Easter break with his cousins. At first he's reluctant to be there, but he ends up enjoying his time there and learns all about the history and the culture of the island. So that's what the story is about. I'm going to read a few excerpts from this book. So the story takes place in 1982 Carriacou, and at that time, to travel to Carriacou from Grenada, we would take wooden sloops or schooners, and that trip would take the entire day. The sea would be rough and people would get sick and so on. So this is Daniel's voyage to Carriacou. I'm reading from chapter 1, Voyage to Carriacou. About 10 miles northwest of the coast of St. Patrick's, Grenada, the wooden single-mast schooner Windward bullied its way through the Caribbean Sea on a northward coast for Hillsborough, Carriacou. 18 passengers crowded the cabin that sat aft on the deck as the boat rocked and rolled on the agitated water. Daniel bemoaned having to travel to Grenada's sister isle at this time of the year. The seas always seemed to be roughest in March and April, but his mother had insisted that he spend his Easter vacation with his cousins in Carriacou. He groaned as Windward heaved over another wave. "Cuz, what happened to you?" His cousin Elijah sat calmly next to him and had to shout over the din of the boat's engine. "Ja boy, how much longer we have to take this?" Sweat flowed profusely down Daniel's dark but currently ashen face. He looked like he was about to puke. Elijah laughed. "Boy, we're underwater for only 3 hours. Don't worry, there's only 4 more to go." I'm going to read from the chapter Stone Feast. Tantan and his party returned from the Bogles cemetery at 3:30. His sister, who had journeyed from England for the occasion, walked by his side along the footpath to the Peters house. Tanti made sure she got the best chair, which was placed in the coolest spot in the yard. Ruth brought Auntie Margaret a glass of gospel juice as soon as she was comfortably settled under the Julie mango tree. A procession led by Tantan and Auntie Margaret carried containers of food from each pot to a specially prepared table inside the hall. That food was dedicated to the spirits of the ancestors and would remain untouched until the next day. Daniel almost cried as he saw bowls of provision, dumplings, rolled rice, and various types of meat go to waste. But he didn't mind them leaving cuckoo for the spirits. Tantan gave a short speech, then the feasting began. Daniel suddenly leapt up from his seat on the ground. Elisha jumped up as well. "Hands bite you or what?" He brushed his bottom with the back of his hand. "That is the tune, Dread!" Daniel yelled as Ras cassette mix started a new song. Men and women around the yard who were seated stood up to rock, skank, and step to the infectious bass line of the reggae rhythm. "Police and thieves in the street, oh yeah!" A chorus of voices rang out. A string band then took over the entertainment, and the merry atmosphere in the village went up a notch as 2 guitars, a banjo, and a violin called out to every home in Bogles and surrounding communities to dispatch its occupants to the Peters yard. So Carriacou is always alive with music and food and dance and festivities. Small island life. That Time in Bogles, Carriacou Tale. And this is available on Amazon, in paperback, and in Kindle as well. You can check my website at www.deambrose.net. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.